Greetings, greetings, family. We are live. Welcome, welcome to the Sister Shanice Show. Yes, it is Wisdom Wednesday, and absolutely delighted to be with you all again this evening. We have a great show lined up for you. As always, let me just go over to YouTube, make sure that we are indeed live on YouTube. Let me know that you are in the house as you come through the door. You know how we do. So I want to welcome each and every one of you to join the show this evening. We have our guests backstage and they are waiting to deliver an action-packed educational session for you today. We are privileged and we are honored. We've got Brother Edison in the house. We've got Sister Baguette, who's going to be delivering to us in the house. We've got Brother Jammers, who's going to be joining us. We've got Brother Theo, who's going to be joining us. And I'm just hoping that I'm coming through okay, because the image feels as though it's a bit behind time. So as you come through the door, family, I'm just going to play a little something for you to welcome you in. Let me add let me stop it first. Hold your horses. So this family is a little something something. It's just to let you know what guests I've got coming up, and just to remind you of some of the great guests that we have actually had on the Sister Shanice Show. Right, how do I get it back to the beginning? That's the volume. That's not the, okay, make this thing. Okay, I might have to just rewind from the beginning and come again. But no, I'm going to continue play. Okay, here we go, family. Just reminding you of some of the great guests that we've had. Yes, family. And coming up, we have today, we have our Brother Jammers, we have Brother Theo, we have our Brother Edison. And the topic for discussion is the power within. And if you caught the first session, family, you will know, oh my gosh, these young men take the whole debate about our power to another level. Yes, they take it to another dimension. So we are going to have a show and a half tonight. Also, next strong, who do we have? Yes, family, we have Karanja Kita Carroll. Oh my days, family. He is a scholar, a writer, educationalist in the field of Afrocentric phenomenology, and it's a whole language that we as a people need to have around how we define having an African-centered perspective on everything that we do across all the disciplines. And he is a leading author in that field. He'll be joining us all the way from America next strong. Make sure you're in the house. So that is next week on the 14th of December. Then afterwards, we have on the 21st, yes, family, on the 21st of December, we have the leader of Jamaica's third political party, Joseph Patterson. Absolutely looking forward to that. He's going to be sharing his vision with us for Jamaica. So yeah, you know, we all want Jamaica to thrive and to succeed. And he is the leader of the third Jamaican party. And don't they need a third Jamaican party? So he's going to be joining us on the 21st. And then to mark the end of the year, family, someone who I have been trying to get on my show for the longest, none other than King Joshua Mpongo. He's going to be closing us out at the end of 2022. And he is going to be sharing with us what our vision ought to be for 2023. So make sure you don't miss any of these shows that we've got lined up for you, family. Today, we also have a special guest in the house who I'm going to bring front of house now. She is none other than our Queen Baguette. And it's such a privilege to have her in the house joining me on the Sister Shanice show. Queen Baguette, please take yourself off mute and just welcome the family.
Hotep, Hotep, Grand Rising family. Thank you so much, Sister Shanice, for this opportunity.
I'm just going to quickly introduce you. Please put your device on. I'm getting the feedback. Awesome. So Sister Baguette, it's a privilege to have you in the house. Our Sister Baguette, she has, for the past 22 years, been working with displaced women and girls who have been affected by political and climate trauma. And so she has a huge amount of experience in this field. And she's written a book, family. And, you know, this book deals with the trauma, you know, that many women actually suffer. And it also deals with family, you know, how that wound of the trauma can sometimes be passed on from mother to daughter, and then from daughter it becomes a mother to the daughter again. And you can imagine, you know, the body of work that she has experienced and the knowledge that she has from a vast body of women who she has worked with, you know, throughout her life. And so she's put a lot of this into her book, and she's going to be sharing with you a little bit of that right now. Are you, Baguette? Let me bring up your presentation to the screen. Welcome again. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for that intro. I'm feeling that. Thank you. Hello, family, and I'm here to tell you about the Black Mother Wound, to encourage you to pick it up if you love a Black woman, if you came from a Black woman. I think there's something for most people, our people to identify with in the book. I've even heard from some men that they find themselves in the content there too. But to welcome you all and to invite you all this Sunday, the 11th, to a Black Mother Wound book review that will include the lovely Sister Shanice. Thank you so much. And the tickets are free. They're available on Eventbrite, and I will also be giving away a copy of the book. Let's see oh, there's slide 2. Okay. So this is to borrow from our brother Rev Shock and the Shock system of metaphysics, that there is nothing wrong with Black motherhood. Something's happened to it. And the Black Mother Wound, it focuses on a comedic-centered thought remedy of active inventories and writing prompts. So the book is not a narrative. It's not something that you sit back and you read and observe. It's actually interactive, and it provides a guide for the reader to actually observe and create the narrative and reveal themselves to themselves. So it's also something that possibly you would do in a group or with someone you care about, if that relationship is secure. But it's designed to recover the divine Black feminine identity through self-honesty, self-knowledge, self-acceptance, and self-determination. That is the end goal. And through ancestral technologies, the guided examination seeks to reveal spiritual defects that are born out of the historical and epigenetic trauma that we as Black women have suffered for generations, and promote the spiritual assets that strengthen a Black woman's intuitive consciousness, and to remove any obstacles to that journey. So just a little bit about the Kemetic-centered thought remedy model that I created, and it's the context for the book. It's the environment for the inventories and the self-review. It focuses on the 4 R's of trauma response: realize, recognize, respond, and resist. And if you look to the right, you see there that this is the portion of Kemetic spirituality that's been folded into the landscape of this revelation. In the background of those overlays is the Temple of Amun at Karnak, and we got a lot of information from our ancestors. They're participating with us. They left us demonstrations of the journey to self-knowledge. The temple itself, we refer to our bodies as a temple because it mimics the holiest of holies. And the traveling through the temple from the forecourt into the holiest of holies, it's the same journey that we take through self-reflection from the I am to the I know. And these are also places where we hear about chakras and aritus, but that holiest of holiest, the consciousness promoting crown, another word for that is sahasrara, a Sanskrit word that means the bridge to the cosmos. So I believe that our ancestors was letting us know that the bridge to the cosmos and the ability to manipulate and affect the cosmos rather than be a slave to it, it comes through our crown, it comes through self-knowledge. So the book is designed to fit within a system that challenges our beliefs, because our beliefs at the very base, they're what defines us. And when we look at our beliefs, we often can find out how it is that we're perceiving our environment and what type of emotions that brings up for us. And I call them emissions because a lot of times, we've heard that maybe someone has an attitude problem, or we've told a child that they have an attitude problem. What we're really saying is that we're receiving an emission. We're receiving a transmission of how they're feeling, and how they're feeling is based on those beliefs. So the book moves through this sort of exploration within this framework of Kemetic spirituality, and some of the things that it looks at are the structures that we build for pain or failure, when our needs are not met, when we're not comfortable. A lot of those structures turn into personality, and we can mistake trauma for personality very easily in our family dynamics as individuals, in our friendships, and as well with our daughters, with our children. So these are some of the chapter headings that are explored: pain, honesty, self-delusion and self-dishonesty, cognitive dissonance, the crumbly edges, esteemable food, powerlessness, surrender, beliefs, centering emissions, willingness, responsibility, courage, truth, self-acceptance, ritual and ceremony, wisdom, psychic conflict, the wound itself, and protection. So I think that the book is an amazing thing, and I've been really blessed to bring it forward, and I'm excited about having a conversation and starting this dialogue, because I know so many times in our community the idea of holding Black mothers accountable for their behavior is looked at as disrespect. It's not something that we have a lot of experience doing, but there has to be a way to open up that dialogue for us to sort of transmute some of the pain that we're carrying from generation to generation, and to start to do the work without weaponizing that journey, without making Black mothers the problem or Black women the problem, but to start to get into the solution and to start to look at our lowest vibrations that really don't belong to us a lot of the times, but that we've built on. One of the things that I say a lot of the times is that I believe that we're only as sick as the secrets we keep from ourselves. So the book, in my opinion, is a great way to become really familiar with ourselves and what our motivations are, what our beliefs are, and to make choices about who we want to be and who we want the next generation to be, to take that responsibility. And also, if you head over to my website, zamanitasasa.org, you can pick up a free chapter and check it out. So if you don't take the journey with me, please, sisters, take the journey and do the work and start the healing, because we can do anything. It's all possible. So hopefully I'll see you on the 11th, and we'll continue the dialogue.
Thank you
so much.
And thank
And
you for
thank you
your
for your
amazing
amazing
work in
works
that
in
book.
that book.
I've already started reading it, and family, it's just so informative and educational. It takes you on a journey, and it really makes you begin to examine, some of the traits that maybe we hadn't looked at in a particular way. And so, we get to see, as this was saying, the personalities, what may have like developed into a personality, to see where it's actually coming from. And I think it really links into as well the discussion that I think we're going to be having this evening from Brother Edison, Brother Jammers. Yes, I can see Brother Edison nodding behind. I think a lot of what you have said actually resonates with our brother. And so I think, yeah, we'll be interconnecting, making some interconnections today. So feel welcome to stay with us, Sister
Please.
Baguette. Ah, yes. Fantastic. So thank you for that. And I certainly hope that everyone who's watching will join us on Sunday. You can actually book free of charge via Eventbrite. Okay, so just go to Eventbrite and put in the Black Mother Wounds, and you will be able to get the link for that event. I'm going to be hosting that event. It's an absolute honor to be asked to do so. And I certainly hope, family, that you are going to be joining us on Sunday, 7 o'clock UK time. I think it's about 11 a.m. PST time. So, yeah, and it's a Sunday. So it's usually a day that most people after dinner are just chillaxing. And so log in, log in, log in. Let's have that dialogue. Okay, so before I welcome our dear brother Edison, let me go over to the audience and see who we have in the house. So, Baguette, if you have the flyer for your event in that presentation, do feel welcome to put it up, and let me just welcome the guests while our audience make notes from that presentation. Very interesting presentation as well. Righty, we got KZ in the house all the way from Uganda. Honor. Ooh, Uganda in the house. We've got Faru in the house saying, Hotep. Where are you watching us from, Faru? We got Amra, Sister Amra in the house. Good to see you too, sis. Hey, Sister Amra is from the Winters Foundation. Lovely to have you in the house, my sis. Sister Afrijamo, all the way from Ghana. Welcome. Hey, Sister Amra is saying, love the drumming, right up my street. Yeah. Oh my days, one of these days we might be privileged to have Sister Amra do some live drumming for us on the Sister Shanice show. If you'd like that, just let me know in the chat, and maybe we'll convince Sister Amra to come on and give us some live drumming. What? I tell you, our sister can drum. Rise up, Sister Sherilyn in the house. Another beautiful sister from the Winters Foundation. Yes, Sister Afrijam was like, can't wait to listen to Joseph Patterson. It's going to be fire. Joshua Mapongo, fire. I'm telling you. Wow. Shaka Musa, great to have you in the house as well. Big up yourself as well. Walter Taylor, big up yourself. Good to have you in the house as well. Rosemary King, great to see you in the house. The family's coming through. Sister Verna's in the house. Rise up, Sister Verna, from the Phenomenal Women. Maruti's in the house. Good to see you. Zachary's in the house. The family is coming through. And if you've got any messages for our Sister Baguette, any questions about Sunday's event, you can put that in the chat as well. And Sister Baguette, please post the link for Eventbrite in the chat as well. Thank you. Okay, so Sister Baguette is going to post that link in the chat. Oops, I didn't mean to put that back up. I love the beat. Me too, Sister Amram. I love the drumming. Okay, so Brother Edison, absolute pleasure to have you in the house. Let me bring you front. Baguette, I'm going to bring you back on in a very short while. Don't go anywhere unless you have to. Brother Edison, how are you?
I'm very well, Sister Shanice. I'm grateful you asked us to come back, because in honesty, the first time around, we didn't get off as much as we wanted to. And in honesty, because you were saying it's a new concept, I was trying to gauge how I walk through it, because to me and the people that we're amongst, this is everyday conversation, but it's not something which, if you don't come to our courses, is not something you might be familiar with. But talking about, especially what the sister Mayat was saying there, that is a class we cover in our course, talking about how the actual trauma or the actual event is transferred in the womb to every generation that comes afterwards, and how that the poor woman is trying to behave, but she's under the duress of certain entities and certain energies that are going to radiate certain frequencies to bring the trauma that the mother went through and have it as a frequency, bringing the people of a certain mindset to come towards the actual person and commit the event back on that child of the mother that had that. And we've been working on ways to disconnect that frequency so it doesn't actually come forward and cut it off at the generation. Most of the concepts in the course is really that it ends with that mother, and anything else that happened before no longer proceeds, and now basically comes an event for the child. The boys are affected in a certain way, and the daughters are affected in a certain way. That's why you as an individual has to be especially careful, because nothing you do is lost, good or bad. So essentially, if you're good, you're planting seeds for your children to receive. But if you're planting bad, sadly, you're leaving a frequency in their legacy so that they now have to endure the balance of what your actions were. So this is something we do in the foundation course, and we take it a bit further, because we start talking about how you pay off those debts in different dimensions of where essentially the event may have come from, a past life it may have come from, or your ancestral path it may have come from, and how to go back to that past life and disconnect, pay the debt. So from future lives, you no longer have that issue with you. So it's something we cover in the course. So I'm interested to see that someone else is writing a book and talking about this kind of thing, because we take it standard, because we know this is the whole thing. You can't allow that which is stored in your DNA. We even do the epigenetics thing, where through certain traumas, certain members of your family will have this event triggered to them, whereas other people might not. Not everyone in the family is going to have the same frequency, but usually the strongest, who has the strongest head and the ability to survive such an event, that is the one that gets that event happen, because there's some way the ancestors are clever enough to give it to the strongest one. That one tends to be the outcast. That's the one who tends to be the more spiritual developed. That one is the one who essentially has the hardest road, but they're usually the oldest soul. Yeah, so we do a whole big thing on that one as well. So it's interesting hearing someone else say it outside of where we normally talk about these things. So yes.
Wow, and she's all the way across the pond as well. Sister Baguette, would you like to respond to what you've just heard there?
That was just so fulfilling to just everything, and all of this information, not as in depth, but I touch on all of that in the book. Absolutely. It's so fulfilling to have that knowledge mirrored back, that this is happening, and it's happening in our families, and we've got to cut it off. And it starts within. It's an inside job. It's not external. There's no need to weaponize or blame and shame and regret. All of that has to be moved through so it can be left, because it's an inside job. Thank you so much. That's so exciting. That part.
And also, what I was hearing is that it might be that we've brought something from a past life with us that needs to be addressed. Now,
100%.
Elaborate on that a bit more, because this is something that is not spoken of much at all. The fact that we might have had a past life. I mean, some of us, we think of deja vu, but deja vu is we're in the present, looking at something that may have happened in the past. But did it happen in the past when we're in the present? And did we have that vision of the future in the past before? I mean, what is this all
Or did it
about?
happen in the parallel?
Oh, on two different dimensions.
Ashe. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
In the past. And you're assuming you actually, how do you say, you actually, when you pass, that you move on, you could come back and repeat the same life over again. Because this place isn't quite what they think it is. Everyone's got this idea that this is one continuous linear movement where really it's not. Your consciousness, if we were to go really into it, is really just a data package that moves through dimensions. And based on the individual who can read that data package, they're going to create the image or the hologram of who you are. Yeah,
I would add to that as well. Right now, scientifically, we have the ability to see 14 generations of cellular material in one cell. So we can see 14 generations of who you have been in one cell. So cellular memory is real, and we are bringing cellular baggage with us to this incarnation through this vessel. So that part, again, that part. That part.
We have meditations that allow you to travel back into those different lives. So you can go back and see them and see your role in them and see the relationships of all the people around you. So you can see how they interrelate and travel with you over various lives. The thing is, they say that we're born here, we're not from here. So essentially, you're born here, or how does one say, your consciousness or data package or waveform or whatever you want to call it actually makes the journey via the combination of the parents that essentially create the avatar body, and then you come across and then take over the actual body. So your parents create the body for you from another dimension to come here and basically have a life in this dimension with the purpose of which you came here through the stories and the DNA of your parents. So for first 35 years of your life per se, you're working under the frequencies generated from your parents and what they essentially through their actions are now radiating events that take place around you and within you. And as Sister Maya said, everything is taking place inside you. There's nothing taking place outside of you. It's the illusion through language, the concept of external exists, where in reality it doesn't exist. There's no external.
Oh, now you need to elaborate on that a bit more for us, Brother Edison.
Well,
What
look,
do you mean there's no external?
there's
I'm
no
in an
external.
environment where I can see the trees and the animals
Okay.
and, the sky and everything.
Okay. Well,
Is that what you mean about external?
Or do you just believe you can?
yeah, this is the thing is, let me give you the example. I think I did it last time. A television, when you're looking at one of these smart TVs, yeah? Now, the actual signal that TV is picking up is from the Wi-Fi that you have in your house. So all it's really doing is sending data in the air as a Wi-Fi signal. Your TV decodes that data and then displays a TV on your screen, displays the image on your screen. You have a choice to choose which image you want to see. Now, we live in a reality where we're not actually seeing, we're not seeing the external world. We're seeing the information we've decoded from the external world.
Oh my
and what
God.
we've chosen to actually produce as an image in our mind. So it's the whole thing of your eyes just take in data, your ears take in data, your tongue, your skin takes in data, your mind renders it like a VR machine or what have you, and then produces a hologram, what you're looking at. You haven't been told that this is really, you're just looking at a hologram that you created from all the data that you've taken, and you perceive this hologram to be external because somebody gave you that language to describe the process that's taking place inside you. But you're only ever looking at a hologram taking place inside you. There's nothing happening outside you. When you say there's the flowers, there's the trees, science will actually tell you that all there is just light. electrical magnetic pulses, and your mind has the capacity, because it's a decoder, to take that information and then create what you see inside, much like the TV, much like you don't see the pictures floating in the sky via the Wi-Fi, do you? You have to take the data, you have to decode it, then you have to produce the image that you're looking at. And all of us are just, what we claim is real is only taking place inside ourselves. Another word used to describe what you're doing yourself.
I'm in a state of shock right now. You gave us this last time round, but this time the penny has really dropped. This time, Brother Edison, I actually heard and understood what you just said to me there. I've never heard this before. I'm totally blown away, you know. So we're all on the same frequency then, to some extent, because we're all maybe seeing, are we? The same thing that's being, you know, like we're all looking at the same TV show and taking it all in. No, Sister Baguette, I wonder if you could turn down the audio on your device so that I don't get the feedback. Turn down your audio a bit, because I'd love to have your interaction as well. So if you can turn your audio down so I don't get the feedback.
Is that better?
More. Turn it down a bit more, please.
Let's see.
It's a bit loud.
Is that better?
A bit
Is that
more.
good?
Yeah, that's good. That's it. Now.
Okay, yeah, just to respond, I was shaking my head. No. For all I know, you may be a giraffe. This is the conversation that I have with, I've had this conversation with friends before. I may be an armadillo. You can't guarantee that I am not an armadillo. Just because you see what you see, that has very little to do with what I'm emitting and my manifestation. I believe I'm an armadillo. And you may very well be a giraffe. I just happen to perceive you to look like this. So the word, I have had these conversations. You may very well be a giraffe. I don't know.
Exactly.
But my job is to be the best armadillo that I know how to be. That is my job. So inside job. It's all an inside job. But no, this is why belief is at the basis. It's what I believe I'm looking at. I believe I'm looking at another black woman. So I'm going to perceive you that way. But I may also choose to believe I'm looking at a giraffe. I can do that. This is the gift and the blessing of this vessel. But it's fluid, and our ancestors left us these demonstrations. They left us maps. They left us a landscape. They gave all of this to us, but we have to stop thinking of them as something that happened and see them as participants. And I would challenge anybody that's listening to me that if they are reluctant for ancestor worship, I would challenge you to reach in your pocket, into your purse, and realize that you are actively worshiping ancestors, just not your own. So we do have this information. We just have to share it with one another and embody it and get it out there. But it's about what we believe. That's what I hear the brother saying. I'm just going to keep saying that part. That part. He's right.
Yeah,
Fire.
yeah.
Are you looking at a giraffe? Are you looking at Sister Shanice?
It honestly, well, no, you see,
I mean, does this teaching also
I-
suggest that in our former lives we may have been like an animal or a creature? We may.
if you go
Yeah.
far back enough, because we've been on this
Plane.
PlayStation.
Dimension.
We've been in this PlayStation for a long time, and we've played all the roles that you can play in the PlayStation. So everything is there, all the different colors, all the different animals, insects, because in order to train your consciousness to be able to handle the avatar that you're in, you have to deal with smaller avatars, and over time you deal with more complex avatar machines. So it's almost like someone saying, I'm going to drive a little scooter, and then someone who's driving an airplane. There is a stages that you go through in your consciousness where you learn to deal with much more complex avatars. So we've been all of these different things. You have access to all these memories because they're all within you. Again, as the sister was saying, as far as your ancestors are concerned, you don't even die. So how can they have? And you're again an ancestor returned. So you are basically lacking the story of it's in your memory where you can't remember who you was. to appreciate who
Mhm.
you are and why you've actually came here. So all of these things are hidden inside you and you can access them. It's not no complicated magic or anything like that or mad rituals. It's really you getting out of your own way. As you said, our beliefs are filters, and these filters have fortunately been given to us, and they filter out the information that we have coming from within. And then now, instead of us actually looking for within ourselves to find an answer, we're looking to the filter and information someone else gave us. So we're using their filter to see in our own mind. So therefore, they don't need to build anything. They just need to build a structure of your mind, and then you will create what it is that they're trying to give you to build. So you're creating the illusion, the matrix, the story. It's just a running program in your mind. And instead of you accessing your ancestors, you're accessing your database of memories which someone gave you for the questions that are coming up within you.
Wow, family. Let me go over to the chat just for a little while and find out what, the audience is feeling with all of this because, wow, like I was saying, I'm just blown away. So, wow, family, is this new to you? Is it only me that's just not heard, of some of this before? Wow, let's go in here. Deborah is saying, very inspiring and enlightening. It certainly is. KZ is saying, don't be scared of death. It's a beautiful thing. So KZ, I mean, have you had the experience of death? Do you remember having the experience of death and coming back? Yeah, Adrian's asking, can someone give him the information about my book? Thank you so much. I didn't even remember to mention my book. Yes, Black King of Anglo-Saxon England. Get that book. He's an ancestor. Find out what hologram was playing during their time or what life they were living out during the Saxon era. We were their family, and it might even awaken and trigger something inside of some of you who may have a memory that you were around during the Saxon times. I think I was Nanny of the Maroons. I actually feel as though I was a freedom fighter back in the days. Also, what I remember, brother Edison, is that when I was little growing up, I doodle a lot. I do a lot of doodling, and I'd have a page, and the whole page would end up being filled with all of these symbols and circles and diagrams and things all over the page. And now, many years later, I'm actually seeing some of these symbols and drawings that I used to do on stone monuments and ornaments and things that, we
Yeah.
maybe used to draw these symbols in a way that we would write. What's that about?
In honesty, like we said, in this lifetime, the first thing they've got to do is, when you're a child, is take away your connection to yourself. It will leak. There's nothing you can do. It's going to come through in diagrams. It's going to come through in understandings. You know, when you can see a child and you said they've been here before, a child, you could look at them and all of a sudden they drop some wisdom, which are like, whoa, that came from you. You're confusing the child with someone that is new to this dimension, that is an adult or fully grown ancestor in a juvenile body trying to learn how to master that body. So essentially the child then, when it gets to about 14 or 15, because that's when children starts to get in trouble, that's when their consciousness is catching up with their body, and they're starting to see things and understand things that they were never told, but they instinctively know. So as a child, you would have had your old self trying to come through and trying to reconnect you. And the people's reason to need to know why is based on their past lives crying and their consciousness crying to say, get back on job. Where you are right now is doing a lot for no return. You're not going to gain anything from most of the pursuits. And people give you a label that you spend the rest of your life trying to fix and defend, when none of them are reflections of you at all. There's nothing there. So you're there trying to work on a principle that doesn't exist, where the actual consciousness that is you has a whole different plan. It has people to meet. It has places to go to meet certain people. It has places to hang out until the alignment of when you meet those people are supposed to happen. So you
Yeah.
have your own actual plan taking place within you, because you're not, how do you say, life isn't happening to you, life is happening through you. And essentially, all the
Mm.
events that are scheduled to happen are really just pictures in your mind waiting for you to travel along until the time is there for you to see it, comprehend it, and better comprehend yourself.
Mm. So is it that, we are here for a purpose and we have a job to do? But most of us, when we come into the world, we should know what that purpose is. But by the time, we've had the nurturing by our
Yeah.
mothers and fathers, maybe that purpose gets lost.
No,
Are we here on a mission,
no,
or is the
we are.
DNA?
It's a tough one, because people suggest mission and they suggest war, and they suggest that they're attacking someone, and they suggest that what has been created in the matrix is someone else's plan of how they want their reality to look. And we sometimes come thinking that we've got to pursue one of the choices that they have given us, when your actual mission and plan is unique to you. You're playing it out regardless of what the events are taking place in you. You're going to meet who you're going to meet. You're going to speak to who you're going to speak to. You're going to contribute to this reality unconsciously. You're going to find yourself in situations, having conversations, bringing people together, because that was your story to do. Another person might have something totally different. They may have 2 or 3 people they've got to meet, settle down with, pay off debts that they might have with that person, where they mistreated that person in another dimension, and now that person is going to mistreat them. As a balance, they will take the punishment because it's their time around, or they may even administer punishment because it's their time around. So there's a much deeper story going on, and we can get caught up with, we're not living a good life because we've been put in a bad story, and we're not living a good story. It's nothing to do with our life. It's our actual story that we have. And most of our stories are not taking place to us. They're taking place to a part of us that we've now think of as us. That's a whole next story. But
It is indeed. Let me
yeah.
allow Sister Biget to come back. Brother
Brother
Theo
Theo,
is having difficulties logging on. I've heard from him. Brother Jammers, he'll hopefully he'll be joining us. So this conversation has been so interesting and so enlightening. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow Sister Baguette to come back. Then we're going to step out the way, Brother Edison, and we'll allow you to start your presentation. Because you'll have to
In
do it
honesty,
without
I
your
don't
brothers.
mind. In honesty, I don't mind the questions and answers, because when
Okay.
it comes to the concept of power within, it's a huge subject, and where to start, you often need to be directed. We could talk about your organs in your body and how each one is a separate intelligence in itself, with its own language, with its own armies of energies, and how that effectively works within you. We could talk about the electricity within you, the electromagnetic force that basically is your law of attraction. Based on whatever you think, you actually draw towards you, so that you can create as a hologram, so you can experience it within yourself. So there's too many places. So I don't mind asking
Wow.
questions where people
Shall
have a
I ask the
curiosity.
audience?
Yeah, go ahead, and then let them come with
Audience, oh my
whatever they got,
gosh,
so
come
we can
on.
answer that. Because
You've got the opportunity to decide,
yeah,
which topic we're going to go into today. So it's all to do with the power within and how to exercise that power from within you. So you can do it at a cellular level. Should we go deep at the cellular level? Should we go deep, at the organs level, so that you know what each and every part of your organ is about and the power of your organs? Or should we go in at an electromagnetic level, where you get to have an understanding of the your magnetic abilities? Wow, that sounds like magic, being able to just
this
draw to you, being like a magnet, and just draw to you what you want. So, family, in the chat, let me know
sister,
where we
sister
should go.
Shanice, can I
Yes.
mention the also one, the mind, and how it
Ah,
creates the reality you experience? Because at this
whoa.
moment in time, people are of the mindset that someone to blame, something to focus on, when everything they're going through is them. There's nobody else. There's no one to blame out there. There's no one to say that they're doing this, they're doing that. If you go down that road, you're looking for the, what do you call it, the hungry ghost or the invisible ghost. You'll never find it, because there's no one to blame when you're the one who's creating the visual perception that you reflect as your reality.
Wow. As you say that, you know, it just reminds me of the slave narrative story that's just being replayed and replayed and replayed and replayed, you know, by the Caucasians to keep us in that perpetual state of, you know, confusion and feeling of, oh, the words escape me right now. But as you was
We
talking, it
call
made
it
me
passive
realize,
smoking. We call it passive smoking.
like, yeah, like passive. So
Because the
you're
event has gone and the children are now, or people that weren't part of the situation, they're feeling the smoke of an event that has already transpired. There's no child that needs to be even taught of that event, because
But
there
it
are
keeps us
histories.
traumatized, doesn't it? It
And
keeps us
that's the
in a
whole thing.
traumatized
It's the one
state.
crime that no
Yeah,
one ever got punished for. In fact, they got
yeah,
rewarded for. So they
yeah.
know that it puts you in an apathetic state. It basically shuts your mind down to the aspiration of what you can create from yourself, because you wouldn't need to fix something unless someone told you it was wrong.
Right. I'm going to
That's
go
why
over
no
to the
one.
chat to
Go
find
ahead.
out which direction of travel we're going to go in. But family, as you hear, all of them sound really tantalizingly exciting and interesting to me. Sister Baguette, I mean, turn down your audio again a little bit for me so we don't get the feedback. Turn it down, down, down. Thank you.
All I can do is second. I stand in agreement with all of that, with every single thing that's been said. I know that what's been revealed, I can speak about my own journey. What's been revealed in my journey is that what my ascension looks like to the holiest of holies, in the crown, the I know, it's the expression of life loving itself. It's alignment with my creator, experiencing life as loving itself. Life is something to be in love with. So that's the ascension on my journey. That's the goal in this manifestation for me. But I stand in agreement with everything this brother has just, what this king has just delivered to the family is gold. It is everything. And in that context, when you think about it in that context, this is one of the reasons this book is not weaponized, because I saw so many people in our community and my own trauma struggling in this area, and the response is resentment, blame, shame, guilt, all of these things that are useless in the context of who we really are and what we are here to experience and express and emit and transmit. It's almost humorous to think that I would point at you and say, you know, my life is bad and it's your fault. So there's freedom in the knowledge of self, in the knowledge of our journey. There's freedom.
100%.
Oh, we're going to be free tonight. So let's see what we got in the chat, and then we'll go back over to you, brother Edison. So
No
Brother
problem.
Farouk is saying, so it sounds like there are certain signals that we pick up that gives us a specific signal. We'll come back to that. The
It's all right.
Jamaican
We can
drunk
answer
are in
that.
the house. Rise up, Jamaican drunk. Good to have you in the house. Yeah. Did you want to answer? So
Yeah, the fact is,
go on.
reality, as science has worked out, and in honesty, again, we probably knew it on a higher level, that we as humans, when I said that we decode things from the waveform, all outside is just a waveform of energy that we are literally taking in via our senses and then creating the hologram. Now, the funny thing is, you can only create according to the environment that you're in. So if you're in an environment of low vibration, the options and the choices of thoughts that you're going to have in your waveform are going to be of that level. So chances are in those scenarios, you can only come with low vibrational concepts within yourself. Because as was mentioned earlier, there are various personalities that we have within us. So when we're in a certain moment and an environment, a particular personality is now going to come forward and decode the information and then present itself as us. So the concept of me is a collective of different personalities that you've picked up through different circumstances in your life, and how whenever a situation comes up, that personality now takes off and becomes the dominant character within you. The problem is, it's at the level of that particular personality's education, because you'll have smarter versions of you than other versions. And in certain circumstances, you behave much wiser than in other circumstances. And when you've gone through trauma, this is what the systematic was saying, that effectively, well, not saying, but what we perceive, you will have a collective of personalities that will come up whenever triggered, created from those traumas. They will come forward in battle mode. They will come across aggressive. Their only purpose is to defend that individual. And that person isn't that personality, it's just one of those. That personality will come forward, and the problem that you have with that personality, if the person stays in a toxic or demanding situation, that personality will be more present than other ones. So if the circumstances change, you take that person out of that environment, that personality will eventually have no food to feed on, no anger to pick up and take forward and attack anyone with. And one of the other personalities that may be more palatable and more reasonable and compromising now take over the actual body and now be speaking from that person. So you have a situation that when you're speaking to anyone, you're logging in to their current conscious state of mind. And when you log into the simulation or the ideas that they're running inside their mind, they get to speak from whatever personality that is guiding them in that moment. So you're mindful who you're talking to, when you're talking to, what state, what they've just finished watching or doing, or circumstances they're coming from, because that personality will fade and leave during the conversation. But initially, that might be the one that is there.
I got a question. Are we actually addressing each other when we speak to each other? Are we addressing each other on the right frequency and at the right level? Because, you know, when you spoke of all those personalities that we have inside of us and that everyone else has inside of them, and then when you speak to someone, it depends what personality comes out based on, you know, maybe what happened before. But then it led me to think that, well, what ought we be communicating with people about? Maybe the level at which we're communicating is below, you know, where we ought to be going really during this dimension. Are we functioning below our, you know, not capability, but below that height that we ought to be striving towards? Is that why, you know, there's that battlement that's going, because we're not stretching each other towards our, you know, full potential?
Well, that should be your aim in every conversation, to raise everyone's vibration around you, not only through your presence, but through your thoughts. Whatever you're thinking radiates into your environment, and people, as we say, they feel you before they see you.
Yeah.
Whatever you're thinking, you're broadcasting, so that the individuals around you are basically feeling you. And you don't even need to speak. They can see it on your face. You think that they're seeing you, but they're actually decoding you. And they're actually taking your energy from. Sorry, Sister Man. I see you wanted to jump.
I'm just, again, to jump in, I just wanted to show you, I think this is, I don't know if you can see it. I think it's around page 50 or 60 in the book, but there's a listing here of pulsed electromagnetic frequencies. And just to back up what the brother was saying, fear radiates at about 100 megahertz per second. And enlightenment radiates at about 700 cycles per second. So when he's talking about these emissions and we're talking about vibrations, our thoughts are vibrations, and we can actually impact. When I talk about emissions, that word emotions, I tend to think of it as an emission because it has a vibration. Again, starts with our belief, but it has a vibration, and there is actual quantifiable data out there about walking the middle path to balance vibrations. and that wasetiya in the temple of Amun, the middle path that takes you to the holiest of holies, to be able to balance these vibrations and to emit in a centered way, regardless of your environment. And that's the power that we do have over this vessel, is the journey to be able to master our own emission in balance with our environment. So, whoo, fire. That part, fire.
What you said there, back, what you said there is effectively all you're trying to do. Once you master yourself, you know that no one has the capacity to change your vibration and bring you into a lower state of mind. So you're no longer in a situation where you're now being impacted by someone's inability to control their energy. So we should, even when you greet someone, you're going to hear it in their tone of voice, their balance, and where they're from. If they're short in what they say, or their tone is lowered, or there's some sort of aggressive tint, that's showing you again how their energy is not maybe in balance as they would like it to be. So therefore, the frequency that you're decoding is you basically now energetically recognizing that, okay, you see, you have to mentally eat people's words. So when someone is speaking to you, it's the consumption like food. So when someone's talking, the same way you would digest food, you digest their words. Now, if the food is a bit too hot, as in the words are a bit too hot, it's going to impact your stomach. And remember, what do we say? Your mind is the stomach of your reality. Your mind is the one that's consuming everything, all the visuals, all the words, all the tones. And from that, it's then trying to balance itself after it's been hit, because you don't need to physically punch someone. You could give them a construct, a visual that will create the same impact in them. So you become mindful as soon as you see someone, you say, okay, are you in control of your words? Because there's the fierce indication that you're not in control of your mind if you're not in control of your tone. Yeah. So, but Jammers, you're here. There we go.
We've been joined by Brother Jammers. Yeah.
I'm just trying to find myself. Okay, good.
Welcome, Brother Jammers. You were having difficulties logging on. Brother Theo has been having difficulties logging on as well. We are delighted that you've been able to join us. We have just been having a really interesting conversation. It kind of spiraled off of Baguette's opening. Baguette, welcome again. For those of you that joined late, she has an event happening this coming Sunday. You can book to join us at that event on Sunday. Just go to Eventbrite and type in the Black Mother Wound, the Black Mother Wound, and join us. They're on the same. Edison and our sister Baguette, have just been taking us on a really interesting journey, my brother. And I know that we're going to continue with this journey with you. I'm going to be hosting that event on Sunday. It's 7:00 UK time. But right now, let me just welcome and embrace our brother Jammers. How are you, brother Jammers?
Well, I've been trying to do my own experiment and tapping in the power within, but my physical self caught up with me. But yeah, based on what everybody's saying, we can go beyond who we think we are.
Yes, we are not who we think we are, even. And I'm looking at you, but I'm not seeing you, really. I'm just seeing, your house, but that's housing you. And there's a multiplicity of personalities as well that each of us, it's just been phenomenal. It's been incredible. Brother Jammers, usually you come with a presentation and then we take it from there. Do you have a presentation for us today that you'd like to drop?
Unfortunately, because I had my problems with my internet, I've just got the same thing that I done last time, so I could just put that up if you need it, just to retouch what I was talking about earlier. I'll put some of it up for those who didn't catch the first part anyway.
Okay. So get ready to present that. Let me see it below, and then we'll bring that up so you can touch on that. And then I think, I'll go to the audience and get some of those questions, because we were kind of free flowing, and wow, I felt myself elevating, I think, to another dimension. And I'm going to be going back, 14 generations to when I was nanny of the Maroons. So as Jammers gets himself ready there, let me go over to the chat and
Sister Shanice, I see in the comments someone is asking about the link. I posted in the private chat, but I don't think it went through. But the link is tinyurl.com Black Mother.
Okay, great. Let me from there into the chat. Okay, thanks for alerting me there that it's in the chat. I'll put it in here now. Okay, here's the link for Sunday family. Really need you to join us. It's going to be another interesting discussion. You're getting a flavor of it now. So let me see if I can see Brother Jammers' presentation. Not yet. So let me go to the chat. Anything else that you can see in the chat, Baguette, that you want to pull out? Brother Edison, can you see anything in the chat that you want to pull out?
I can't actually see the chat. I never do look, to be fair. One of those I never do. But if there's any questions, I'm quite happy with that.
Can you see down the column, the StreamYard column, can you see comments?
It's got private chats. Oh, so I see. Oh, now I see it. Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so you can be looking at the questions as well. Okay, let's see what Nana says. I've heard, and what I want to know is, do we ignore what's going on at the moment? And will that remove us from what's actually going on? We're all getting so deep and philosophical now. Oh my gosh. What do you say about that, Edison?
Well, in honesty, all that's going on now is a very, very well crafted distraction. If I get you to focus on whatever stories that I'm telling, you can't actually progress within yourself. When we say everything is actually taking place within you, the best way to describe it is life as you know it is just your own personal movie that you're actually watching within yourself. And all the data outside is just people trying to insert their plots into your mind and into your personal simulation. So the truth is, as the consciousness and not the actual body, nothing around you can actually harm you. You're an immortal. You'll live forever. There's no such thing as death. You're a waveform packet of data, which essentially means that people can only recreate you in their mind. You're traveling around. If you're looking at someone, all you're looking at is them broadcasting their thoughts and their feelings, and your mind is decoding it. So in truth, they're not a physical structure as you think. They're just a set of different images that you have in your mind that you created for simplification of that information. So you can have 100 things in your mind and not be focused on anything. But as soon as you focus on one thing, all the other images disappear. And you're now just focused on that. Yeah, the best way that they describe it in science is that everyone is just an app or an appearance, but they're effectively a segment of data that you can actually pull up and then be able to go into further detail if you choose. So life is transpiring inside you. There is no, when we say there's no out there, it's a tough one for people to take, because when you think someone else is creating what you're creating, no, they're creating parts that you could partially describe, but because they come from different histories and different mysteries, they got different operating systems that are decoding information in a different way. So whereas you think it's similar because you can grab certain images, the history and the knowledge that we have on that information totally changes what we're actually seeing. So outside, the distraction is, first I've got to make you believe your body. Because if I actually make you believe your body and not a consciousness or not an energy field or not intelligence, then I can create rules for that body that I've now created for you. You notice all the religious concepts only ever talk of what happens to your body. They never talk about what happens to your spirit, because they've got no interest in your spirit. No one can control an invisible object. They can control a physical object. So the whole thing is to basically control the narrative of how you think of yourself, because you yourself is a physical structure. As Sister Beckett was saying, you could be an armadillo. You're the one who's choosing the image that you think you are. And as a result, you have judged yourself. And from that judgment, you are now trying to overcome your own judgment of your physical appearance. And now you're suffering because you might not think you're that great, or you might not think you're that great at this. And that, unfortunately, is creating an emotion which is then subduing you within yourself. So you have to make yourself feel better about the idea that you have of yourself in your own illusion. So all they need to do is insert some little stories here, get you to adopt certain titles, and before you know, you've adopted a negative title that now you have to fix. Yeah, someone could call you a woman, your consciousness playing a woman. Yeah, someone could call you black. That's a definition of a skin color, but none of us are that. That's another label program that was given to you so that you would essentially, from that point onwards, accept any derogatory terms used to that actual label. So all of these things, you're African, you're this, it's all very good. Don't get me wrong. You need to define yourself, but no one walked out of the land yet. You came from someone who was on the land. You didn't walk up from out of the ground. Someone gave birth to you on that land. What land did they walk out from? Then you start realizing that it's not quite what you've been led to accept. We're not from anywhere. We came, our consciousness come from other dimensions, and we're working in a dimension where we have an avatar. But any person came out of another woman who is the gateway between two worlds, because the woman is the gateway, but the gateway, she might be lying down, she may be standing up, but the land didn't produce the child, she did. Yeah? Whenever you're using these terms, you're just describing where it took place, but not where you came from.
Ooh, ashe, ashe. Just to piggyback on that, the R when I talked about the 4 R's of the trauma response, I turned it a little bit. The R in there is for resist, and it's resisting that focus and returning to the position of observation of the divine feminine principle, that identity, and all of the work that's been done to destroy the cosmic feminine principle, the gateway. That identity is something that can be built upon, but resisting the focus on the the black, the female, the trauma, the moving all of those things out of the way and coming back down to our original identity and moving through that. It gives us observation, observing me again, because it's an inside job, observing me. That's where the power is for me to balance my emissions with the environment. And that observation, the only way I can do that is by not resisting the drive to focus and internalize and personalize every experience, every exchange, and tie it to what I believe about it. But as long as I can observe myself in that environment, I've got all the power. And in that framework, the idea of some of the sisters that I've seen out there and their difficulty with their black mothers and being stuffed into these small container identities and moving from that place. Again, the dream is the hope. The hope is liberation. It's liberation for our people, for all of us. But I stand in agreement with all of that. Ashe.
Yeah, we'll come back to that. Forget what a liberated mind and spirit actually looks like. What would that actually look like? But let me go over to Brother Jammers. I'm not seeing your presentation yet, Brother Jammers. Are you having difficulties bringing that up?
Yeah. I'll try one more time. Can you see?
Yeah. No, if you go to present, oh, here it is. It's coming up now.
You can see it now, yeah.
Yeah, it's just getting ready. Okay, family. So we are going over to Brother Jammers for a presentation, and then we're going to be coming back with more of your questions. And wow, and we're going to be going deeper into this really interesting conversation with Brother Jammers, Edison, and Sister Baguette. Brother Jammers, over to you.
Right, this one doesn't seem to want to be shared. Okay, I'll put the other one on. So.
Okay, you should have control of it. Shall I take this one down?
Yeah. Okay, again. So can you see this one then? Can you see this?
Okay, I'm just going to remove the one that's up at the moment. Nothing new has popped up below. Let me just remove it altogether. No, I think you need to remove it. Yeah, it's just the same one that's there, Brother Jammers.
Okay, you can't see the...
No, do exactly what you did before when you went into present and then Windows and opens up the presentation that you've got on your screen.
Right, I'll try again.
Okay, great. That one's gone now. So, wow, this has been really interesting. Okay, let's go over to the chat. KZ says, I'm African in and out.
I saw that. That was quite good. That was quite good. Yeah, it honestly,
and out,
it's
and out.
It's a tough one, that one, but don't worry.
We might come back to that, okay, Peru? Yeah, we've got your presentation there now, Jammers. Just put it on the slideshow and we're good to go.
So can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
It's up on the screen. You just need to go into slideshow mode.
Slideshow mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because at the moment we're seeing all your slides down the side.
Can you see it now?
Yeah,
no?
It'll give it a moment and it will go over to slideshow from the beginning. Okay. No, it's still showing all the slides down the side, but it's okay. We can work with this, Jammers.
Okay.
We're good to go.
Yeah, it's basically what everybody said. You see, we're stuck in these words, you know, and we're limited by the words that we're using. But who gave us these words to use, and what gives them the intelligence? The words that we've been given, do they actually really describe our perception of reality? You know, and who came up with the words? What gives, if there's an intelligence that's created us, that's greater than us, you know, how can we use a word to describe what is in front of us and get a full experience of that? So let me just put this to this. So firstly, we're under a ruler, yeah. Can you see that picture?
No.
Yeah. Okay. I'll stop the screen then, because if you can't see it, okay.
We've seen rue, the verb to make sad.
You can see that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So we're under a ruler who determines our existence. Yeah. So a ruler is a person who determines our existence. Inside the word ruler is the word root. So the first person a ruler has to do to stop you from accessing who you are. The word root means to make you feel sad, to make you feel lower than who you really are. And while you're focusing on this emotion and this feeling, you're not in a state to determine who you are or contact your own self. So these people who are supposedly in authority, their whole purpose is to put us in this state of being. You know, and while we're in this state of being, we're not accessing or having the time. And lure means to attract. So we're enticed by people other than ourselves constantly. you know, through TV, through media, through entertainment. You know, we've been given all of these ideas to keep us from trying to access who we really are. You know, and then we're lost in the words that somebody else has given us to use. You know, and as I said, who came up with the word in the first place? And if we look at the subscription of grammar, grammar is a prescription based on logic. It just provides rules and doesn't offer no objective or science approach. So the words that we use are not scientific. I just go into this slide. So grammar is not based on is based on logic. It's not based on science. It's just the sound that somebody has given us to use. So when we're saying black, when we're saying that is not who we are. Now, how can a sound be who we are? Right, and I just put the words that we've been used are based on conquering land, because literacy is a quarrel or an argument. So terra means land, and lit means quarrel. So this whole exchange of words that we have is not based on right or wrong. It's based on persuasion. So we're constantly trying to persuade each other to our way of thinking. That's why it's called conversation, which is basically convert the sensation. So basically, we're constantly trying to convert people to our way of thinking. But this science of words is based on grammar, and grammar is based on Aries, the ram, and Mars, the Greek god of war. So if you look at the word grammar, you see the word ram, and you see the word Mar. So these exchanges of words that we're having is just based on someone's constructs of control. Right, so I just stopped that shit.
Thank you so much, brother. And again, you know, as you was delivering that presentation, you know, I was just seeing how the authorities are actually, you know, directing us to be in a place of misery, really, or fear, or a feeling of hopelessness, as you say, to, you know, detract us from our real purpose and who we are and what we ought to be doing. Let me just ask Brother Edison to come in here in response to what you have said there. And Baguette, please keep an eye on the chat for me as well. Thank you. Brother Edison.
No worries. Me and Brother Jammers have had this conversation many times on this concept where effectively language is a computer code, a computer language that was taught to you as a child. So instead of you using your own language to create images in your mind, you're using the language of someone else. So they actually limit how much you can actually create as a hologram in your mind by reducing the content of the language that you're using and having it from a labeling language of a lower vibration. So you don't actually often know what you're talking about when you're using certain terms and words. If you don't know the meaning of the word, you're sort of restricted in the images, not only that you can create, but then you can convey to others. This is why often when you use a word, a person asks you, can you repeat that word? Because I have no image for that word. I have no concept for that word. I can't create anything when I hear that word. So language, as he said, be that they taught all of us to speak the same language as children, and blocked off our own natural language of communicating within ourselves. We can only use their one. They can actually dictate your emotional state and your mind by effectively having you look in a language, speak in a language that only keeps you at a certain level within your mind. You can't rise to the higher places, as Sister Bahit was saying, in your crown, because your language doesn't permit you to. You have to stop thinking in a language and then start moving in energy to the higher self and start speaking in pictures and images. And when you get up there, if you can, speak in another language, which is your natural language, so that you can then download the images in your mind and download it into your frequency from your higher selves. Yeah.
Just to come in on what you just said there.
Cool.
Basically, the concept of God is basically an idea. So God really is an idea. That is what our God is. Whatever idea you carry in your mind that is your God. Whatever thought you wake up with, that is your God. So the real concept of God is the word idea. Idea, another word for idea is the word theory. Theory comes from the Greek word theos, and the T and the D in are similar sounds. So in morphology, which is when language moves throughout a period of time, certain sounds take on certain letters take on similar sounds. So theory is the concept of an idea, which comes from the Greek word theos, which comes from the Latin word Dios, and Dios is the Latin word for God. So there was not the G word for God in Latin. This is a new concept. It was the word Dios. So if you want to look at what God was in Latin, before it came God, it's Dios, Deus. So Dios, once again, is the concept of an idea. And then that also comes from Zeus as well. Zeus, Dios, and Theos, theory. That's why they say in the beginning was the word, because the word represents the idea that I'm going to give you, that you're going to travel with. And from what I give you, that idea, that is who you're going to be. This is what they do. They use with animals. They give the animal the idea of the sound and what the animal must do to the sound that it hears. Once the animal has been programmed to do to that sound, and the sound is the idea that I've given it, that runs who I am. So the whole concept of God is the idea. So we've been tricked into believing, and believe is to believe of your senses. Because when you believe something, you're no longer in the power to do something for yourself. You should know by now, with all the knowledge of this concept, you should know, you should be sure. And that is the power to do things for yourself. But you've been put into to be in leave of your senses. Look at the word believe, it's got the word lie in it. And then it's got the word Eve, So this is the state of concept that you're out of control of the ideas that you generate for yourself, and you're functioning off somebody else's idea. So God is the idea that you carry in your head.
Wow.
It's called thought, because thought is a state where you're not in control. Inside the word thought is the word ought. What you ought to be doing is to construct who you are, but you're lost in the thought, what somebody else has given to you.
Baguette, would you like to jump in here off of the back of Jobbers there? Take yourself off mute, Queen.
Edison, you're on mute?
No, I'm not.
Oh, there's a Sorry about that. I'm working out the.
Okay, let's see. One more thing. All right, then,
take yourself back on mute, Queen, and if you've got something else on in the background, if you could turn something else on in the background, if you could turn that.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so Brother Jammers, you had something else you were going to come in with.
Yeah, because basically the original words or the original state of being is an action. So words in its original sense, the Hebrew word is dabar, which is arrange. So words in the original state were called verbs, which was an action. So when you said something, you done it. So it's command. It was the ability to arrange and command yourself to do things. What they've done, they've taken these words of action and created nouns. And a noun is just something what you call. It's not what something is.
The name for something.
So basically, it doesn't sit, run, and jump. It makes you do things. But they've created nouns, which puts you in a state of wonderment because you just call something, but there's no call to action. So what they've done, they changed the frequency of the words by just making things that you say, but you can't do. And now we're pulling these words into our cranium. That's putting us in a state of just thinking about what somebody else has given us to think about.
Yeah. So we've been put into a passive state instead of an action state. Sister Baguette, let's try again. Your audio was giving us a little bit of problem, but let's hope we've got that sorted out now. So let's bring you in, Sister Baguette. Okay.
Is it still too loud?
No, put it down just a little bit more.
I was.
Put it down just a little bit more.
Let's see.
Yeah. Thank you. We've got a slight delay on the line, but
is that better?
Go ahead. Yeah, we're hearing you live and clear, Sister Baguette, and myself.
Okay. No, just to again stand in agreement with what the brother's saying. I wanted to share an image with you, and I was trying to get it up there. I'll still try, so you can share it, Sister Shanice. But there is folklore that talks about the ear canal as a birth canal, and what comes into the ear births a personality, it births an entity, it births a manifestation. So the music that we're listening to today, the vibration of the words that we're accepting as valid, as real, they give birth. That we only have, even men have canals that transfer entity and energy out of their bodies, and it also enters through the ear. So there's some folklore and some ancestral understanding around the ears as a place of birthing.
I can understand that, yeah, because obviously from what you hear, I mean, I know Edison's talked about all the different senses, and you've just honed in on the ear right now, but yet you hear the words, don't you? And it's from hearing those words that then it may turn into an image, or anyway, let me
I was going to say that.
Let's jump in here. Who's
the
going to go first?
The funny thing is, you don't actually hear words. You decode energy.
What are you doing?
The sound takes place inside your mind. It doesn't take outside your mind. Whenever anything around you, there's no noise at all. There's just waveform that your mind has a pre-existing memory of a sound associated to that actual waveform and generates the sound within you. That's why when you're dreaming at night or traveling, because you're never really dreaming, that's a whole nother story. But when you're lying in your bed and there's no noise in the room and there's no lights on, wherever your consciousness travels, because your avatar needs to sleep, your consciousness doesn't. When it travels into the other dimensions it goes into, it hears sound, it hears noise. And where you are there, you notice there's a couple of things. You don't actually see your body often when you dream. You never die when you dream as well. And you're in a situation where just as you're decoding information here, you're decoding information there. So you never really hear words. You just hear someone expressing energy and you decode it into a sound. And the tone of their voice becomes like the temperature of the actual word that they use. So your body then impacts from the temperature of the tone that they use. But all it is decoded data in your mind. You're not hearing anything from someone. Someone's just generating information in a packet form. There's a whole thing of where you hear the word in your mind, you then transfer it as a data package to your voice box where sound is encoded on it. Then you use your tongue, because without your tongue, you can't project any words. So you use your tongue to then project the information out of your mind and out of your mouth. And it's a scattergun concept. You just put it out of your mouth. So whoever is in the vicinity to decode that information can then convert it into a sound. That's why the old saying, does a tree make noise when it falls in the forest? Only if someone is there to convert that sound into a noise inside their own mind. Otherwise, there's no noise. When you're driving along, all of that, there is no noise. There's just memories of different waveforms that you have a memory of. That's why when someone's speaking a foreign language, you don't have no images to go with that sound. So therefore, that's why you don't understand what they're actually saying. If it's a case where you understand, you have an image attached to the sound that they use, you can formulate an image. And once you formulate an image, you can construct within yourself a way of understanding through the images that you generate from the sounds what's actually taking place. So you don't actually hear the word. It's just a program to actually generate an image inside your mind.
Woo! Woo! Brother Jammers! Would you like to come in here, Brother Jammers?
Can I just bounce off what Edison said?
Yeah.
Well, basically, if you can laugh or cry in a second, if you can you hear me?
Yeah, go.
Yes,
Can you hear?
we're hearing you. Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, if you can laugh or cry in a second, if you can create a thought process, then who are you? You know, you're actually living magician. You're actually living magician. You are the real magician of your own self. You are basically a musician. Muse means to think randomly, like in amusement parks. Amuse means to think, and then I see. Look at the word music. You've got the word muse. Just to think, you can think randomly, think basic thoughts. The opposite, muses, M-U-C, means to think. And we are actually a musical instrument. Instrument means you play. Ment comes from the word mental. So instrument is instrum. So you play mentally with the vibrations that you've got around you. Barket made about. Look at the word earth. The first three letters of the word earth is the word ear. So everything that is consumes the word is a vibration that goes into your ear. From it goes into your ear. You play it with your eardrum.
Boom, boom.
Then you have your vocal cords. You know, then you even your body's full of cells. You know, so and it goes into your heart. In the middle of the word heart is the word ear. So whatever you hear from the earth goes in your ear. You play the drum, the sound in your ear, and then it goes into your heart, which creates the beat. So wherever you hear the vibration, you create the heartbeat. And if you look at the word heart, which is H-E-A-R-T, in the middle of the word heart is the word ear. You take the H from the heart and you put it at the end. You've got E-A-R-T-H, earth. Look at the word earth. Take the H from the end of the word earth and put it at the front. You've got the word heart. So we're basically playing vibrations. And if we're playing vibrations, that means you're not fixed to a personality. Because a personality is a fixed state of being where someone's tricked you to giving you a word like you're extrovert, you're Aries, you're African, you're New Zealand, you're sad. And we've been tricked to be tying ourselves to the word that somebody else has given you. When you have the ability to create different personalities for whichever environment that you're in. So if you're in work, you're going to find that you're, hello, Sid, you're okay? You're going to find that if you're in the barbershop, yeah, Maria, I say, you cool everything, Chris. So you're not tied to a fixed personality because you wouldn't be able to laugh or cry in a second. So they've tricked us by giving us a word to attach that. Somebody else has come up with this word, hasn't got a clue about who you are, and we've been tricked to be tying ourselves to the sound that somebody's put through us called personality. The word per means through. The word son comes from the word sonance, which is sound, and then you've got the word tie. So somebody's put a sound through you and you've tied yourself to it. That's what's become your personality, or the personality that I've tied myself to. And a persona is something that's not true anyway. Edison?
Could we go back to the concept of God, expanding on what Jam has just said, where you are effectively the consciousness, the creator. And through that being the creator, you're the one who's creating the images. You're the one who's creating the experience. They had to basically trick you and externalize the concept of you being the creator by creating the term God, which is just an abbreviation of the word good. But so what they have
also comes from God. It also comes from Göttingen, the Germans who created the concepts. Yeah, because the T and the D is the same sound. So they had to create their version of God for you to fall under, so they could control you. Every ruling power creates its God for somebody else to fall low under, which is called the word follow, which fall low. Sorry,
no, it's okay. Because essentially, this is what we're saying with the God concept or the consciousness concept. Once you can get to that part of your mind and get to the part of you that exists before you created anything that exists, because you're the one who's created all of it, all the colors, all the sounds, all the images, all of that is taking place in you. Even the concept of walking or moving is not taking place. It's an illusion in your mind that you're actually moving around. All that's moving around is images inside your mind. This is what is taking place. Because you notice no matter how fast you're moving in the car, you're sitting down in the car. Your body's not effectively moving around. It's the images that are moving. And based on the speed and over a period of time, your mind acclimatizes by focusing or defocusing on the waveform that is breaking down and moving the images to give you the appearance inside yourself that you're physically moving. You are the one who's generating the experience that you're having in this dimension. You are the only creator, because in even to speak, you have to formulate the words which you're going to use to expand from outside of yourself. And then someone who can hear that sound or hear that vibration decodes it into the sound that they later hear in their mind. So there's no God. There's just you creating and someone convincing you again through language that you're not actually doing what you're actually doing. And as long, like he said, as long as they can get you to fall under a load of different labels, each one they drop you under or you accept as yourself lowers you down into their story. There's the old saying where you say, I am, and whatever you say after that is where you've dropped your consciousness in. You're supposed to say, am I? Then you're effectively talking about the I, which is the consciousness, which is the one that is actually creating the experience of everything else. Yeah, so we just go back the God thing. Please don't dwell on it. Everyone's got you focused on an external concept so they can draw your energy to build their realities with your focus. And then you inside and the worlds and dimensions and everything taking place in you, you're not actually paying any attention. So your own willpower to generate your electrical magnetic force to bring what you essentially want to you, you have blocked it off yourself by not believing you have it and giving it to other ideas and concepts and labels instead. So you find that you thinking you're finding a new word to describe yourself, you're finding a new word to lower yourself. And you're not actually trying to get to that original essence, which is you, which is the one that's making all of this happen. So unfortunately, we've been very creative with our ignorance. And we found very wonderful ways to describe it in so many different contexts and formats that we now actually feel great about what is not us and what we've created as ideas we still don't understand, because they don't have no origin. They have an origin of who said them, but not the consciousness that said that and where that was coming from.
Wow, this is so deep. Oh, wow. Edison, Brother Jammers, Sister Baguette, you've all said so much, that I could comment on. And, where do we go? I know what you're going to tell me. to get the essence of who we are, because there is the who we think we are, and there's also the
You know
who
the
we
funniest
really
thing?
are.
The funniest thing is you said, where do we go? So
Yeah.
imagine it's like not where do you go, where you've left from.
How do I find out where I've left from, who I was
Because where
before
you
in
left
those
from is the
40
origin of
lives?
where you created everything else. We've traveled so far from ourselves, we've forgotten the way home. It
Yeah.
ties me back into the concept of please don't let me offend anyone who refers to themselves as African. I don't want to take anything out. It's a concept. If we're happy with that concept, then fine. But if I could go back to that concept, yeah, you were born or your consciousness came from another dimension. So therefore, where is that dimension? Yeah. I only say this because the deeper you get into your ancestors, the deeper you're now going to travel out of this dimension and go into dimensions millions of miles and millions of concepts away, that you're going to see different dimensions with different terrains, different moons, different realities. Once you've gone down those journeys, when someone speaks of the earth, you know that that's just the current meditation state they're in. Because remember, if you take in all the data, if all you're doing is rendering information from your senses, you're just playing life as a recording in your mind. You're just taking information and playing a recording that you're looking at from what you can decipher through the different filters that are running through your head. You don't come from here because your consciousness is thousands of years older before there was a place called Earth. So we're working from our current belief system and holding ourselves in that vibration, which is unfortunately putting us in a scenario where we're debating with other people what's taking place within ourselves. It's all taking place. You only got to fix yourself. If you fix yourself and get your filters and see how deep the rabbit hole goes, or see where you start out from, then all these things that people are talking about and enjoying, you enjoy them because they're happy saying it. But in honesty, the origin, they can't tell you because the origin isn't them. Yeah, all of this is inside, just waiting for us to go and find, and not this within in a hypothetical go within, go within. There are structured ways where you can travel within yourself. It's something we do. I'm sure other people do it as well. But again, the more we talk about these things and have people comprehend that essentially they will not have an enemy worse than themselves, nor will they have a friend better than themselves. They've got to choose which one they want to be. If you want to follow the crowd, that's why as the chicken crossed the road, it followed everyone else. It didn't stand up by itself and work out, yeah, I don't think I'm going to follow them. I'm going to do me and work out what's going with me. And all of us, unfortunately, chickens crossing the road, following whatever fad story concept that is being thrown at us and literally trying to convert some sense to it. That's why they say the future is as infinite as the past, because every day someone's going to come up with a new past to you and you're going to be like, okay, because you don't know, so you follow what anyone says. You got nothing to compare it to, so if it sounds good, there's no reason why you won't jump on it and follow it, instead of you taking time out, looking at yourself and saying, who am I? Not from the concept of what someone has told me, but from shutting up, listening, letting all the rubbish, because all the programs have got to come out first. And once all the programs have come out, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, all the different voices, you're going to hear that still quiet voice in you. And that voice, if you let it, it will teach you who you are. But you have to let it, you have to let all the fears and all those different programs get out your system. And right there in the middle, you'll get to the source that has been captured by various personalities. Most people, as they say, they're not operating as themselves, they're operating as a version of themselves, from the concept of them being a physical body first. As soon as you think you're a physical body first, you're not working from your consciousness. You're working from the image that you see in the mirror that you think is you, which is really just a collection of data and waveforms as well. Because if you close your eyes and you can't see yourself or see your image, and you have to go to your memory, your image was only ever your memory. All you're doing is constantly looking back at your memory and comparing it to the last time that you saw it. That's all it is. Good stuff. Anyhow.
Woo! Oh my days, Brother Edison, Brother Jared. I mean, God, are we going to have a, we are like 10 minutes away from the top of the hour, and there is just so much in what you've just said there alone and what Jammer said before. I'm making notes here. No wonder they don't want us to know. No wonder they have us focusing on the external body, and it's all about beauty and this and that, because they want us focused on the body, when really we ought to be focusing on what's inside of the body, on us and who we really are. Oh my God. I've seen you bursting to come in. Let me allow you to come in, and we're going to go over to Jammers, and I can see more messages coming in.
I'm going to try one more time. Is it down low enough? Is that good?
Go ahead. Yeah, go
okay. I almost wiped out on. It's something that we sort of take for granted. I know in my pack and tribe, we talk about being one with the first thought idea, but what we're talking about is being the first thought idea, that identity. Identifying as the first, beyond the Zamani, that remote past that's collective, that's unconscious, and beyond the Sasa of the present of who we are now, is the very first thought idea that travels with us constantly over and over again. And just building on what the Brother King said, that identity is organic to us, that first thought idea. There's something we can sink our teeth into, and when we're in those situations or those circumstances where in the moment we're not able to process, or we're being distracted, to snap back to that knowledge that we are the very first thought idea. Again, we're right back, we're freedom, we're liberated in that moment.
Thank you so much for that, Sister Baguette. Wow. Let's go over to Brother Jammers, and then we'll go to the chat and see how much more we can pack in. A little more nuggets from Edison. Brother Jammers.
If you want to know about the latest movie that's come out, you wouldn't go and listen to someone who never saw the movie. If you go into a bookshop, you wouldn't buy half a book, the second half of the book. We can barely give a true account of what happened to us last week. We are listening to people who are now experts in events that they weren't even there thousands of years ago. Oh, I can tell you this about quotes, and they weren't even there. They were not there. You can't trust what they said. They can't even tell you what shoes they had on last week or what color t-shirt. But we are listening to experts in events that they weren't there thousands of years ago, and this is what we're basing our perception of who we are on. So if you want to know how to drive, you're not going to listen to someone who can't drive, so we've got to stop listening to people who are experts in events that they weren't even there. The essence of really who we are is that this creation, this intelligence is beyond words. It makes things happen beyond words. We are in a realm of people who are trying to compete with this intelligence. The science that is there now is in competition. It wants to know. It's not just grateful, like when you're like saying Christmas, you come up to Christmas, when your parents give you a present, you'll be appreciating that present. You're not gonna, why did you give me that present? What is it about this present? Why can you give me a present and I can't give myself a present? That present will be taken away from you, because you're ungrateful. And we're amongst a species, ungrateful set of beings here that are in competition with this intelligence. They're trying to outdo the very intelligence that has created them. But how can you compete with something that's created you, something that is more intelligent than you? So the essence of tapping from you, all you've got to do is pull from this intelligence that has everything. If some examples of who we are, you could say, is Muhammad Ali, is when you go beyond the word concept, when you go past that and you go and pull out, go outside of whatever you believe and go beyond it. because that's the only way you're going to expand, is when you go beyond what any thought that you've had in your head. When you go beyond that, that's when you grow. And we have, the intelligence has given us everything that we need. All we've got to do is go beyond. We've tricked us to say, oh, you mustn't make mistakes, or you mustn't do anything wrong, to stop you going past that barrier, to go into that realm where you can pull something greater than you into your being. Yeah. So we're trapped in this sentence of words where what we've got to do is go beyond the words that we very think, oh, I don't know if I can do that, I'm not sure. You're missing the opportunity, and opportunity is the operation that you go into the portal, and when you go into the portal, you pull things that are from that portal into your existence. We've been given these apps to peer at and see, rather than going for that inner self. That's why it's called appearance. We're working with somebody else's apps rather than working from our parents. That's why we're all walking around with closed minds, with the appearance of the clothes. Anyway.
Excellent. What I would say, I'm just sorry, Jammers, you dazzled me a little bit there, man. I forgot where I was coming from. No, to get down to the original self is a journey where you be moved beyond the creation of your concept of self. You have to design the idea of you first being the physical avatar. Once you can actually appreciate, we call it the avatar consciousness, a separate consciousness that's working in line with your real consciousness, a consciousness that's been built on the story and the idea of who you think you are through whatever color, gender, storyline that you think you find yourself in this external reality. That has captured your actual spirit. You know, where they say the mind, body, and spirit, where now the spirit is the actual slave, and the mind is now behaving like the spirit, and the body is behaving like the mind. So we're dealing in a reactionary world instead of an actual faction or facts world. We're now no longer basically able to separate the fact that you're in a hologram. You're basically using your mind as a virtual reality machine. Once you understand that now that virtual reality machine is under the guise of a load of different filters for the roles that you actually think that you are, you're essentially in a game console, and every day whenever you take a certain action, you're playing a new game. There might not be a title for it, but it's essentially a game. You running images and holograms in your mind and effectively trying to play a role. I'm a mom today. I'm a father today. I'm an uncle today. I'm a worker today. I'm a whatever I am today. Whenever you're in that environment, you've got a personality playing that game for that day.
Okay, Brother Edison, we can understand, I think, you know, I mean, there's people in the chat saying how I'm feeling as well. You're all just blowing my mind, you know, with all of this new information, these new concepts and stuff. So, you know, these virtual realities and games that people are playing in our minds, and we're living them out through this hologram, we can feel, you know, the effects and the impact of, you know, this virtual reality game, or we think we can feel it. You know, if we don't eat, we get hungry. If, you know, food's not provided for us, we need that fuel while we're here as well to keep that energy going. And, you know, there's just so many questions that I've got here, and we're 3 minutes away from the top of the hour already. Wow, let me give you
Can I ask you one thing about the feeling? The feeling thing.
Well.
The feeling thing. Where do you feel things? When you taste food, where do you taste the food? In your tongue or in your mind? You take the data of the food, you see if there's a corresponding taste in your mind, then you send a sensation down to your tongue.
Okay,
when you
is
touch
that
something,
food fueling our body? Because are you saying to me then that I can create a wonderful meal in my mind and see myself eating that meal, and then if I did that, would my body actually feel as though it's been nourished, and would my body really be nourished?
I'll give you an example.
Level?
A strange one now. If you go to a restaurant for the first time and you eat there and the food is fantastic, you're looking at the environment, you're looking at the ambiance, you're loving the moment, the company and everything. and you say, my God, I got to go back to that restaurant. When you go back to that restaurant, your mind is already dealt with the environment and the ambiance, and now you're just focused on the food, and the food doesn't taste the same. All of a sudden, the creation that you was creating in your mind from that whole event now has already built in all the other images around, and it's now just focused on one of the aspects you had before. You're effectively creating the experience as you go along. There's a reason why the decor is looking that way. There's a reason why the waiters are behaving that way, because you're consuming the whole experience. The food is only part of the experience. But essentially, you're taking the energy from the environment. A good conversation can last for hours and you're not hungry because you're eating everything. Yeah, you're not just eating food. If you eat food all day and you don't have stimulating people and situations around you, eventually you're going to say, I'm not hungry. Can I have the other things that I'm not having? We're
And I
here
just
for the
based on what
experience.
Edison said, that's why it's called the crown. That becomes your crown. Because inside the word crown, you cry what you own. So that's your real crown. Is the experience that you take in you, and what you cry, you own it. Look at the word crown. What you cry, you own, and that's what you really wear in your head. Is
Or
that
what you create,
experience
you own,
around
isn't
you?
it? What you create, CR, the creator. What
Yeah,
you create, you
yeah.
own.
What you eat, that's it as well. You cry, what you eat is what you create.
So this is why words are so powerful, family. We've been hearing today that, you know, we can create our own reality through words, but we've also been hearing that the words that have been given to us have been limited, and they're words that we have been trained to use, you know, has dumbed us down in a way. They're not action words. So a lot of us are being inactive, and we're not doing all that we can have the potential to do. So I was even going to be asking the question, do we need to create a new language, you know, so that we can become, you know, that great higher self? Because we've been given a language that's dumbing us down, that's restricting us, that's limiting us, that's taking us away from who we have the potential to be. But I think there needs to be a part 3 of this. What do you think? What do you
Can I
think?
just answer this question? There's a question in the panel about
Yeah, go on then, Brother Javis.
there's a question: what identity can be used to unite and
Yeah,
liberate and
good question.
deliberate us? Basically, we've been tricked. We all want the same things, but we're given different words that we're terminating ourselves for. When you really base it on, we all want a family. We all want to have a safe existence. We all want to optimize ourselves, but we've been created all these words, so we're just babbling on and on. We're the Babylonians now because all we're doing is babbling these words when we really want the same things.
Can I
Okay,
also
so
say the funny thing is,
is there a word that we should use though?
well, no, the
Or yeah.
problem we have essentially is you're here alone. Yeah, I know we all like to think of the concept of uniting because there's power in numbers, but you still have to fight your own original concept of being here by yourself. So there's going to be a time where you have to give up relying on others and moving on yourself. Because as soon as someone says, I need this, I need that, I need groups to come together, you've cut off your own infinite consciousness power. And you're now looking to someone else to give you that infinite consciousness power that they have. If you have a set of people, normally small numbers, because the larger the number, the easier it is to corrupt. And you have people with the same focus, the same mind, they can generate different energies, different waveforms, and start creating a magnetic force. But essentially, it's not going to be the masses. The masses will come together. The masses are fickle. The crowd is fickle, and essentially, whatever is the latest favor done with the latest flashing lights will be the thing that they follow. This is why you got to get to this journey alone, because no matter how you travel, you're going to end up only on your own path. You're going to end up with all the things that you did in your life. You can sit here and join this crowd, this group, and sit there and take power from the name of the group. but ultimately that will not take you any further in the knowledge of yourself. You will basically, great, the group is very powerful and the people that are the organizers of the group are going to be raised up, but you will stay there at the same place you was. You just have a powerful title of a group to attach to yourself. You would not have empowered yourself in any way. So the fight is to unite first all the different personalities you have in your mind, so that you can work from the singularity consciousness that is you, and you can choose which personality you need for any given time. From that point onwards, once you shut them down and all those personalities are now not crying for different situations and different scenarios and pulling your energies in all different directions, you'll have the singularity one, the consciousness you, that has created all these different things, not these different things now controlling you, the consciousness, and having you now feed them instead of you basically using them. Unite yourself.
What comes to mind,
Unite
and I
all
think
your
that's
energy
another
first.
show again, Brother Edison. Wow, wow, wow. Is that the reason why we, as the oldest people on the earth, have such difficulty in uniting? Because we have all of these previous existences that go back probably millions of years that along the way have created so many different personalities, that these personalities, even within ourselves, can't come together, much less all the personalities of everybody else coming together. When
And
we
their
begin to
personalities.
realize, and
And
their
their
personalities,
personalities.
and so when we begin to realize, the extent to which, how old we really are, and realize and recognize that we're carrying all of these experiences along with us, and so is everybody else, if they are a person of color, then at least we begin to get an idea of the challenges that we're faced with. But as has been said in the chat, we don't get this education, we don't get this knowledge in school or anywhere. So let me just ask, we know you've got an event coming up on Sunday, so Sunday is another opportunity for us to continue with this conversation to some extent. Please remind the family of your event on Sunday. I'm going to come over to Edison and Jammers afterwards to find out what training courses or seminars they've got coming up as well, because we need to be hearing a lot more of this. Sister Baguette, please remind the family about your events.
Well, it is this Sunday, the 11th, and I believe it is at 11 a.m. Pacific. That's 1907 p.m. GMT. You can register on Eventbrite. It is free to attend. We will be giving away a copy of the book, and it should be wonderful. Sister Shanice, as you know, the host, Baba Dr. Clyde Winters will be there to give his impressions of the book. We'll go through a few key areas of the book. Oddly enough, language is one of them. Weapon error, the ritual around the opening of the mouth that our ancestors used, as well as the Kemetic spirituality and its impact. And with my little 5 seconds, I want to take an attempt at just to balance it out with some feminine energy. The question that was asked, I believe that the identity that the person might have been looking for is the identity that says, I am the thinker that thinks the thought. I am the creator and the creation. That is the identity that we all need to move through individually. And then there will be a unity that creates a larger circle that takes in all those little circles that we get kept out of. That is my 2 cents on that. So please come through on Sunday and be a part of the dialogue and liberate yourselves, free yourselves.
Thank you so much, Sister Baguette, for the works you're doing in your book there. Please book now, everybody. Go on to Eventbrite and book now. Brother Jammers, do you have a course coming up? Have you got a date for your next course?
I'll be doing starting an etymology course in January. Let me just get the date for you.
Ooh. Okay, we're gonna have to get the details of that in a short while. While you're looking that up, Brother Edison,
Yes,
any training, any events
well,
that you want to tell us about?
We're running courses all year round, but we have a foundation course that new people can start, which will be happening in April next year. But you can go to our website, ancestralessence.com, and basically just subscribe, register, so you can be appraised of anything that we're actually doing. And yes, we've started a new TikTok. I've yet to tell Jammers. ancestralessence.com. He's usually my guy. So again, ancestralessence.com. So you can go and find us on TikTok as well, where we're going to be putting out about 3 to 4 times a week a little segment of different things that we've done from various talks and various classes. We're also going to start a membership page in February next year, where essentially we're going to do a couple of talks a month, where people can join, for a fee, and then we'll do talks on various subjects. The course that we do can be perceived as expensive, so the actual membership is a affordable way for everyone around the world to actually find out the type of things along these lines, because we are usually more focused on ancestors and how they communicate with you. So we're trying to have everyone have at least the basics of being able to hear within themselves and realize when your ancestors speak, all the other voices shut down. Woo! And that's the calmness in your mind. As soon as you hear them, everything shuts down, and essentially now they can communicate with you and be your eyes and ears in a world where you essentially can't see beyond a hologram you can create. They can see behind a hologram to see events that are going to happen before they've manifested in your reality. So yes, go to Ancestral.
So many more questions that you've just left in my mind there, but because of time, I can't even answer them. Oh, we have to have you back. We have to have you both back. Oh, Brother Jammers, were you able to find information? And Brother Edison, please post a link to your TikTok. Also post a link to, the training that you spoke of.
That will be in March. But then go to the website, ancestralessence.com, and find us on TikTok under Ancestral Essence. And then, yes, you'll be appraised of all the different things we're doing, when it can happen, when you can register, and everything like that. And on the webpage, we've got articles of different things we've written, like the one where the woman is the gateway between two worlds, and explain how that journey takes place, of the energy traveling from another dimension, and basically then finding itself through the link that the woman has to the ancestral world in her womb, where the consciousness can travel and then take part in the body that is then made by the parents for the actual consciousness. So we got articles along those lines explaining those things. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for your great works, Brother Edison. And Brother Jammers.
Yeah, I'll be starting etymology courses January the 8th, starting on January the 8th, 2023. If you want information, you can contact us on mastermindintelligencecenter.com. That's once again mastermindintelligencecenter.com, or you can give me a call on London is 07931 417 553. I know some of the chat room have been trying to get hold of me, so I've got their email, so I'll be responding to those people who already contacted me.
Yeah, and people have been asking about your book as well, Brother Jammers.
The books as well. For that, contact me on those for the books as well, based on mastermindintelligencecenter.com or me 07931 417 553.
Wow.
And also just next year, 23/01/23, we'll be doing a link up with Andrew Muhammad as well, Hidden Truth.
Oh.
As well. So that's the date for your diary. 23/01/23. Hidden Truth will be on there as well.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank everybody that's stayed with us. We've gone over time, all 12 minutes over time. Those 2 hours literally just flew by. Brother Edison, Sister.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Brother Jammers, you've been all absolutely phenomenal. It's been a great session. Just want to remind you that next week we've got, some more great we've got a great presenter coming up. Who have we got next week? Let me see if I can just quickly find close out with this for you, family. Here we go. Our becoming guest. This was today. Next week we've got Brother Karente. And that takes of the year. So stay with us, family. You know, keep logging in on Wisdom Wednesday evening. Thank you, Sister Baguette. Thank you, Brother Edison and Brother Jammers. I'm going to get a date in the diary for next month because we have to have a part 3 of this. It's been phenomenal learning, and I hope everyone goes over to Asian Essence and signs up so that we can get more of this knowledge, because we have to learn how to tell all those personalities to just quiet themselves so we can hear from our ancestors. Wow, for that guidance, you know. And I'm sure it's to do with our ascension and how we can rise to another level. To think that we're on a plane where there's all these other entities and frequencies and they're all communicating through us, around us. Hey, it's all, I love this. Thank you so much. I'm tearing myself away. To everyone in the chat who stayed with us today, thank you so, so much. Please do join us on Sunday as well, 7 p.m. for Sister Baguette's event. I'm going to be hosting it. It's going to be great. And make sure you stay in touch with our brothers as well, who are doing phenomenal works, assisting us to tap into who we really are. Sister Shanice out of here for now. More love, more strength, more Buddha. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, family. Okay, so I've ended the broadcast now.